I mean, be honest, I'm an Embiid hater. So I don't watch his games. Bam is shooting threes, my nigga. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Believe me when I say I'ma pull up when the stage drops. Believe me when I say she don't look good. Believe me.
Yo, what it is, everybody? It's your boy Srotonn here. So we're going to watch the obvious Team USA problem. Let's get into it.
So we got to talk about Team USA because they might be in real trouble. For those who are unaware, right now in the Olympics, we are playing expedition games leading into the actual tournament, and Team USA just matched up with South Sudan, a game in which many people, like myself, thought that USA would be able to beat them confidently. This is a roster with Team USA with some of the most talented players around the league going up against a roster with South Sudan that has some players who've been in the NBA, but for the most part, no NBA caliber players really are on this roster. Also be very mindful, in the last expedition game, Team USA matched up with Team Serbia, and they beat them pretty convincingly. So on a roll with some momentum going up against a roster that is severely lacking in talent.
What I think niggas, I think people don't know who South Sudan was. Nobody on South Sudan, so they was like, obviously these niggas are trash. I don't know anybody who was watching South Sudan. Anybody who was not watching, anybody who was watching South Sudan before, and then was like, oh, I'd never seen it. Everybody assumed they was going to be because nobody knew the people on the team. So I don't think it's fair to say they weren't NBA caliber, but I don't know.
In contrast to Team USA, of course, you would think that they would beat them convincingly, but no, they did not whatsoever. As Team USA edges out a close victory 101 to 100 thanks to a game-winning layup from LeBron and really great defensive effort on the other side of the floor from AD and Drew Holiday. But again, this shouldn't happen. It shouldn't come down to a 1-point victory. And what's even crazier is what was actually happening in the middle of the game, because this was very losable for the United States. There is a stretch in the first quarter where USA not only lost their lead, but then going into the second quarter, within the first 4 minutes, South Sudan went on a 17-4 run. Some of the greatest players around the world on the same roster only scored 4 points in a 4-minute span. And what makes it even worse, the remainder of the game, USA, they did get a hold back of the lead. They were able to hold it for quite some time, but let it slip again towards the end of the fourth quarter, which is why we got such a close win at the end result. And a lot of the questions that are being presented isn't just in this game. Before we got here a couple of weeks ago, Anthony Edwards was sitting here saying how he should be the #1 option. Joel Embiid is being quoted stating that he has had some concerns with this roster because of aging stars such as LeBron James, and his athleticism and his dominance isn't the same because of his advanced age.
Did he really say that? I can't find it. So I don't know why he said that. Maybe he did it to talk shit. But as you can see, LeBron is the main option. And passing, scoring, this nigga he literally takes over the game. I haven't seen anybody guard this nigga yet. But we'll keep it going.
Kevin Durant still hasn't played. Kawhi Leonard isn't available anymore. It's been replaced by Derek White. But the biggest concern that I actually have for Team USA is the best player on the roster. Because be very mindful how we got here. Last year, FIBA with the United States, underwhelming. Didn't even place, let alone get gold. And a lot of people were freaking out on what exactly was going to happen to Team USA. Oh my God, is USA falling off? The dynasty, the dominant figure in basketball around the globe isn't the same, which then sparked some conversation about the concept of the NBA being able to label themselves as world champions, which was infamously brought up by Noah Lyles, or famously, depending on how you view it.
Yeah, and this boy, boy, niggas was on his ass after this. So funny.
Which then again sparked several conversations and discussing around USA basketball. And because of this really put a fire under a lot of players' feet to join the Olympics once more, bringing LeBron and Curry and KD out of retirement.
You gotta appreciate
also putting them on the same roster with some up-and-coming stars such as Jason Tatum and Anthony Edwards, culminating in a roster that many people, including myself, thought was going to be the most talented Team USA roster we've seen in quite some time.
I agree.
The one one piece that everyone was concerned with that we were missing was a 5, but Joel Embiid actually stepped up to the plate and filled that void for the roster by joining Team USA, which is not only huge because Embiid, as of today, is the best player on this roster heading into these expedition games, but Embiid being able to fill that void gave us some actual size while also being the best player, which a lot of people thought was going to be the difference maker. But yet here we are, and a player that was supposed to save Team USA, put them over the hump, and really be a difference maker by being the best player potentially on the floor on any given game, somehow is leading us down a path.
Team USA is bringing every corner of NBA to you can't start for this team.
Some of the biggest questions that we have for this team moving forward.
So what I see, I don't know what he might mention it, he might not. What I seen up front just from watching the games, I think this nigga is hurt. I think he is 100% hurt. He doesn't. I don't like Joel Embiid for non-basketball reasons. The nigga can play, but he just doesn't. He's not. To me, he is not performing at the level that he usually plays with. But I could be wrong, man. Could be wrong now.
Now, I want to be clear. I don't want to make this a Joel Embiid slander video because there are several different other questions and concerns with this team. What Embiid said about LeBron is true. He is older, he's up there in age, and trying to rely on his dominance just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Even though you could argue, statistically speaking, both LeBron and Curry have been some of the best players for the team so far.
100%.
Outside of AD, I actually do believe they are the next two best players that have been performing within these expedition games. And even though, yes, KD is older as well, him not being available early on is certainly hurting us as well. So sure, Embiid is correct. We shouldn't be relying on older players, but here we are. And they have huge impacts on what we do on the offensive side of the floor in particular.
Impact,
so we kind of do need these older guys, and we are missing KD's input to this roster. And also, I don't believe that some of the lineups are doing anyone any favors whatsoever. I understand that Steve Kerr is still trying to figure things out, but I also believe that some of these things should be common sense going up against a South Sudan team that is taller, longer, athletic, gets up and down the floor, plays defense, gives a lot of effort. Matching up with them with a 3-guard lineup in the starting 5 doesn't make any sense whatsoever, especially when the other quote-unquote big that you're playing at the power forward spot is LeBron, who doesn't give the same level of effort and energy that you would get from other players on the opposing roster. And putting a lineup like that around Joel Embiid doesn't really do him any favors in many regards, especially defensively. However, there are still a lot of concerns with Joel Embiid that I don't know.
So with that, I kind of get it, but at the same time, because you know niggas love small ball and they like, oh, we just gonna shoot him out the gym. But what I did like is that Steve Kerr made adjustments. Now, you know what I'm saying? Starting that, you know, sometimes you maybe because he could have made an adjustment sooner. Hell yeah. But he made adjustments and they come out with a W. So I feel like that's all that really matters.
Necessarily believe is going to be changed anytime soon because it is just a part of who he is as a player. And what's even crazier is that you could argue that Anthony Davis should be the one in the starting 5, and Embiid, despite being the best player, or
100% agree,
being the best player on the roster, should be coming off of the bench, which is something that I don't necessarily know if Steve Kerr and the rest of the coaching staff is willing to do. Why exactly am I saying this, and why is everybody on social media constantly cooking Embiid? Well, first, offensively, he really slows down what this team does. He's constantly just getting the ball in the elbow, low post, or even at the top, and kind of just holding the ball, trying to initiate, probe, jab, which is something that he does with the Philadelphia 76ers, and it makes a lot of sense for that team and the way that it's structured because they don't really have any other playmakers, especially this past season, that can manipulate and shift the defense as much as Embiid can. However, here in Olympic basketball, that's not necessarily the case. Zones are used much more frequently because the floor is much more shrinked thanks to the 3-point line being closer to the basket and bigs being able to just wander around the lane for an infinite amount of time. Because of this, Embiid is dealing with defenses that is much more suffocating and seeing a lot of more double teams, which is resulting in him actually leading this team in turnovers.
Damn, did not know that. But what I can say is that Embiid is doing an excellent job of passing the ball when he get in the post. Couple games, man, I'm seeing this man really facilitating that shit while he in the post, and I think he's doing a great job. Do I think he need to start? Hell no. Because he is sluggish with everything he's doing right now. Like I said, bro, he's hurt. He has to be hurt.
Yes, Embiid is averaging 3 turnovers within like 15 minutes per game that he's played, which is kind of crazy and something that is also very concerning. But even when he does have a possession that is deemed successful, it still feels like he's bogging down the offense because how ball dominant and slower paced he is in contrast to everyone else on the floor. Making quick, decisive decisions is what you're looking for, especially in the starting five that has way more offensive weaponry around him. Now, to be fair to Embiid, these are things that can change. These are things that can be shifted because I have seen certain sets where Embiid does make quick and much more decisive moves, especially with off-ball screens that are being set with him and Curry, or any action really with him and Curry on or off ball. It's actually pretty beautiful with some of those plays that are being drawn up. But
like I was saying, bro, I said before, I love off topic. I love how you can screen niggas in the Olympics. You don't have to be a bitch. You can, bitch, get back, nigga. And I like that because it works for us. We're a lot stronger than these niggas is, bro. We are.
On the other side of the floor is where things get really, really egregious. Defensively, Embiid just doesn't look like he is prepared. Now, part of me wants to say that he doesn't look good at Olympic basketball defense, and there has already been some reports claiming that he doesn't necessarily comprehend the goaltending rules completely. So I'm trying to give him some grace there. And also, there are some parts of me that believes that he's not 100% healthy, which if that's the case, please go sit down somewhere else. I'd much rather Embiid be healthy for the upcoming season
healthy.
rather than him trying to force himself on a team just so he can win gold, despite the fact that we should be able to win it with or without him. But moreover, I consistently see things that he is struggling with defensively that I honestly just believe it's a part of his game. It's just who he is as a player. Expecting Embiid to defend in space or recover, rotate, trying to defend and man an entire lane are things that just are not his strong suit. Using him in drop coverage, having him hover around the rim is a much better way to utilize Embiid. But when he's in a starting five with offensive-oriented players who are older, such as Steph Curry and LeBron, and more than likely Kevin Durant as well, I don't necessarily know if any of those players can really help maximize who he is as a defender and really help him in some of his weak spots. So
that's real. I don't think the person that I like defensively in the paint is AD. Bam does a really good job too, but I do like AD defensively in the paint over anybody else. I think Embiid is I ain't gonna lie, I'd have to watch his games. Like I say, I'm gonna be honest. I'm an Embiid hater. I am. So I don't watch his fucking games. But I didn't know that that's really not his game as far as being, great defensively in those situations. I have to give it a watch. Watch clips. I'm not watching whole games.
Way more than what he is actually able to do. So now what we're seeing is he is getting cooked. He's not rotating cleanly. He's fouling a lot. He actually fouled out in the first game like 12 minutes. It was pretty bad. But moreover, it just looks really, really awkward watching him trying to do things and overextend himself in areas in which we all know that's not his strong suit, which is a huge reason why I believe that he should be coming off the bench and Anthony Davis is the one that should be starting. And this is not me as a Laker fan trying to push propaganda, but just looking at their numbers side by side.
Nigga, you better be glad I'm already 8 minutes into this fucking video. You a what? You're Celtics over here, nigga. Get the fuck out of here.
It is very clear, undeniably, that AD is much more Olympic basketball. He has been a much better and much more fluid defensive player while also a much better play finisher that could be really maximized alongside the best passers and playmakers for this team, which in my opinion would really maximize who AD is. There are times when he's coming off the bench playing alongside Bam Adebayo and other non-offensive oriented players in contrast to what's in the starting lineup. Those things I don't necessarily believe.
And I know he say he not offensive, bro. Bam is shooting fucking threes, my nigga. This shit, I can't believe what I'm seeing. And he's not just making one. He's making like 3 of them hoes. This shit is crazy.
Would happen as much if he is play finishing around Curry and LeBron. And then defensively, unlike Embiid, AD has been a menace. He has been able to cover so much ground, correct so many mistakes.
Get that shit out of here.
It really looks like the much more fluid defender. But more importantly and more specifically, his flexibility and his versatility is something that should be utilized to really mask a lot of the mistakes that are going to be continuously made, which is why he's going to be even more important and pivotal for him to be in that that lineup in contrast to Embiid, because trying to ask Embiid to defend in space or come out on the perimeter and switch, those are things that just are not tailored to who he is as a player. While on the flip side, if Embiid comes off the bench, he's going to be playing alongside Bam Adebayo. So he's going to have somebody who's going to be able to roam and help out a little bit more while he stays closer to the basket and attached closer to the rim defensively. He's more than likely also going to be on the floor with Derek White and Jason Tatum, two defensive-oriented.
Hold on, let's go back to that. That's a beautiful picture.
More than likely.
With your 2024 NBA World Champions. 3 of them, boy. But we gonna keep it sliding.
White and Jason Tatum, two defensive-oriented perimeter players, which will again allow him not to have to overextend himself on the perimeter as well. You can really just rely on Embiid to do what he does best, and that is rim protect. But I think a much bigger aspect to Embiid's game coming off the bench would actually be his offensive game, because there are moments where it does look a little wonky. It looks a little awkward with Anthony Davis, with a bunch of other non-playmakers.
That nigga been shooting the lights out,
I do believe Embiid, however, with the backups, with the reserves, as the offensive firepower that he has, he will have the ability to have a much more prominent role as a option coming off the bench scoring wise that can really aid that team from having those awkward, stagnant moments where they're not scoring as much coming off of the bench. And that's something that Embiid can provide, I believe, much more than Anthony Davis can. Now, with all that being said, because I'm pretty sure you thought that I was...
Yeah, I can definitely see that as well. Embiid has been shooting really well from what I've seen. I would pull up his stats, but I don't give a fuck because the shit I've seen, he's been shooting well. But yeah,
like to slander the hell out of Embiid, but no, I'm gonna be fair to him. It's Expedition Games. It's gonna take him some time, and I do believe there's an out. But this is where I actually am concerned, because that's a fix. It's a very realistic fix, and it's one that I don't really think no one really is gonna care about if they do it. Sure, some nasty people on the timeline are gonna get their agendas off, but who really cares if Embiid comes off the bench? I don't think it really matters. However, I don't believe that we're going to make that adjustment, because Steve Kerr has already came out and said, despite the fact that these are Expedition Games where he's trying different lineups, trying different sets, trying new things, he is committed to the idea of keeping Embiid in the starting 5 alongside Steph Curry and LeBron, which to me is crazy. There is absolutely, positively, you can watch.
I'm not finna use the word, but man, Steve Kerr, come on, bro. Like, I feel like, I don't know, does he not see what we're seeing? Like, I'm not a coach. No, nor am I an NBA caliber anything. But I feel like you have to see everything is better when Embiid is not starting. I'm green, so I'm going to say, to me, it's better to me when Embiid is not on the floor. That's all I'm saying.
Watch AD perform. Look how well he looks, even with the second unit, how fluid he is defensively, knowing that those are things that Embiid is struggling with non-defensive oriented players in the starting 5, and you do not, at bare minimum, at least try a different starting 5 that would consist AD out there instead of Embiid. I think that is negligence. I think that is idiotic. At least not trying it, to me, is crazy. And I do believe that is something that needs to be talked about and needs to be discussed, because there are a lot of questionable things that I'm starting to see with Team USA. It was already questionable, in my opinion, that they replaced Kawhi Leonard with Derek White. I understand the value of 3-point.
All right, now, my nigga. Watch your mouth. This is my thing. And I know people are going, I'm sure, hopefully he says this part, because I want to know why he feels that way. Derek White is a great shooter, but even better, his defense is immaculate. Like, I understand, bro, offense when it comes to the Olympics, nigga, but you gotta know when the nigga, he knows when to switch. He knows when to he knows rotations. Bro, let me show you a video. And I know it's a lost art, and I know I'm a strange nigga for probably liking this shit, but I make a lock every chance I get on a basketball game, because oh man, I hope I bookmarked it. Yes. The tweet goes, I know y'all only like stars of offense, but this is good stuff from Derek White. And the shit, bro, I am a nerd when it comes to defense and defensive rotations. I think that shit is so important. It's so important. That's how I knew we was going to beat the fucking Mavericks, because the Mavericks never seen nobody who can. Do we do it perfectly? No. But Minnesota, their defensive rotation was ass. Oklahoma's was ass. Like, nigga, I don't think shit had no sound. But look at him. Bruh, his defensive IQ is amazing. Look, he doubling. All right, go. All right, he's going. Now let me go. Like, come on, bruh. That shit like that matters. But y'all just want to see a nigga dribble, pull up. So me and my nerd ass to stop talking.
Shooting. However, having someone out there replacing a front court player for a guard gives up a lot of length, even though Derek White does provide defense. I'm not saying that. But the length that it is providing is something that is so hard to find and replace from a guard perspective. And we saw that with South Sudan. They were out there crashing the glass, grabbing rebounds, out hustling us. Those are things that I don't think that we would struggle with if Jaylen Brown was out there.
Don't agree. We suck at rebounds, bro. We suck at rebounds.
Also, the addition of Tyrese Halliburton on this roster over Kyrie Irving, very questionable, especially because Tyrese has looked really, really bad in Olympic basketball so far, which makes sense. The game is much more physical, but more importantly, there's so much talent on this roster. If you cannot make quick, decisive moves like Kyrie can, you're not going to be as impactful offensively. But moreover, the concern that I think me and many people are going to continue to have is how much this team still relies on their older players.
And the thing you have to understand as well with Kyrie, I feel like it may be some static from people on the team. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. I don't know. It possibly could be some static. From who? I don't know. But, you know, it might be an Isaiah Thomas situation. You know how a lot of people didn't fuck with him that was on the team. But who knows? Who knows, man?
Bro, LeBron and Curry, outside of AD, genuinely look like the second and third best players on this roster.
They're the first and the second
with
to
Olympic
me.
Basketball, they're not the same type of shooters that we would normally see. Definitely not the same shot creators. And a lot of that will be corrected when Kevin Durant comes back. Why are we relying on KD? Like, he's old. Same with LeBron, Curry. They're older players. It's concerning as hell at this stage of their careers. Team USA is still relying on them this heavily. And I think this is part of the bigger picture that everyone is concerned with, and that is the rest of the world catching up with Team USA. Let me be clear. I still think that this team is going to win. They're supposed to win. This is the most talented roster in the entire tournament. Like, there's just absolutely no way that they should not be able to win. Point blank, period.
Agree,
However, it is also still undeniable that the rest of the world is catching up. Like, I do not expect this version of Team USA to be as dominant as some of their predecessors. Even though, yes, we are winning these games, the margin of victory is Team USA averaging 97.5 points.
That's another thing too. Listen, man, I fuck with old shit, old players. Niggas, y'all gotta stop. Basketball world was so fucking different in 1992, my nigga. It wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't like that. Were they good? Yes, but they wasn't like they are today. These niggas today, I think they would have gave that team a run for their money. Do I think that the dream team would have won? Absolutely. That team is ridiculous. They played hard. It would probably be a little bit harder because I don't feel like they were strong shooters. But they hustled, they played hard, but they would have had a run for their money dealing with a South Sudan, nigga, fucking Canada. Well, Germany is cool. Like, bro, they would have given a run for their money.
Points, while the opposing team is averaging 85.8 points. That is a much closer margin of victory than we are accustomed to. And I think, again, a lot of that has to do with the fact that these teams are much more talented than what they used to be. And the fact that we are having to rely on these older players to still produce at a certain level, while the best player that we should have doesn't seem like his game is best suited for Olympic basketball, may have to come off the bench. Those are all things that may not be big concerns today, but certainly will continue to be concerns later on in future iterations. Let's just say we got to enjoy it. But with that being said, I still believe that Team USA is going to win gold, and I don't believe they're going to be in too much trouble. Just don't expect this team to blow teams out by record margins like we used to back in the day. But
I don't. WS video. My concerns is, like I said, I'm a nerd for defense. So defensive rotations, I understand it's the Olympics, so everybody not gonna be playing super hard. But I feel like niggas be doubling when they ain't supposed to be doubling. They don't step. At least put a hand up off a screen. off of pick and pop, and our rebounding fucking sucks. Our defensive rebounding is trash. So many teams, bro. I'm watching teams get endless amount of offensive rebounds on us. Because niggas be looking at that bit. Yeah, what you doing after? They're like, bro, grab the rebound, bro. Come on. But I'm enjoying this shit. I'm an American until the Olympics is over. No, I'm playing. But appreciate everybody for watching, man. Till next time, I'm out.